Hey, Linux friends, I saw this video the other day and I felt like it was talking about me in a really entertaining way, describing my journey of learning Vim and trying to use Vim. So let's check it out. Grab your popcorn and remember, this is a reaction video. So whatever I say, it's just for entertainment. Don't get offended. Let's have some fun.
Neovim is a text editor most commonly associated with split keyboards, carpal tunnel, and skill issues. As of 2022, I pray to God you're all on Neovim. The DevOps engineers of the real world have built many excellent pipelines. In the same vein as how a caterpillar transforms into a butterfly, your favorite gaming streamer blossoms into a right-wing commentator, or
Ooh, I wonder if that's just called growing up, maturing. Oh, snap. Oh, how do you know I'm a Rust dev? Blue hair, I guess. Yeah. His words, not mine. I wish I had hair.
or how the Rust developer spawns with blue hair. What was the YAML behind the Thera Code Font Junior developer becoming a yoga ball sitting, split keyboard using, 0 to LSP, Neovimmer?
Okay, I wonder if because I've thought about buying split keyboards probably 20 times over the last year since I seriously started using Vim. And I think that's just the trajectory. Like you watch the Primogen. He's so quick. It looks so easy and effortless. And I have a few keyboards here because I'm trying to find a good one for me. But yeah, I thought about buying a split keyboard, but no yoga ball for me yet. I think that's clearly on the journey. Next step. I'm not there yet, but shipping to Iceland is so expensive. I have not bought one of those splittity keyboards.
Journey of perpetual skill issues starts at awareness. You know of this thing called Vim or Neovim. You're not too sure about the difference, and quite frankly, you don't care. You probably saw a fun Fireship video on it, the mustache man saying something about harpooning a Docker, or Ben Awad's videos before selling out and becoming a startup founder.
Yeah, that was the start of my journey. I have to be honest, I was using VS Code at work because everybody's using VS Code there for Ansible and everything. And so I just drank the Kool-Aid, used it, and then I saw Vimogen, and it was just amazing. He was so quick, snap, copying, pasting, moving stuff around, deleting, changing words. I was honestly mind blown.
It's one of those useless things you kinda learned in college for a semester, and only the kid in a hoodie really understood. By the way, that kid, he works at Jump Trading now. Yeah, shoulda learned Vim. You can use Nano instead when you're working on a server. Sorry, for front-end devs, servers are these things that host code. The people paid more than you code on them. You don't have to worry about them at all. At this stage, you're the noticing Andy. You're noticing that Vim exists and some people use it, but you're still just burning a hole in your chin at this point. You're fine with whatever soy milk you're drinking at the moment. That is until you run into an issue at work and ask Greg for a pair programming session. He closes your repo, opens up Neovim, deletes your suboptimal code, fixes the issue, gets it merged, all before your cursor theme loads up.
That is so true, so accurate. Like that's when I was watching the Primogen. It was so quick and he was not messing around with the mouse. Of course, I've used Vim throughout the years on servers to change, scripts and stuff like that, but I've never really used it as my IDE. And so when I saw him do it, I was like, I need that. I want that in my life. And it just, at least it looks so cool. I know that's a nerdy thing to say, but it just looks awesome. And also, when I started using it, I noticed I didn't like moving my hand off the keyboard. It was just, I like everything in the same place and I can just type away. Hence, probably carpal tunnel and split keyboards and the yoga ball and starting to stretch. I don't know. I don't know where this is going to lead to.
This brings you to your second stage, coping. You come across sick Neovim setups. You come across the Linux user space. You keep getting dunked on in pair programming sessions by Greg, who's been using Vi since 2008. Or put very simply, you're an Emacs user with highway exit pinkies. And hey, maybe you tried using Vim, but you had to restart your computer and ran back to IntelliJ at the slightest inconvenience.
Yeah.
So instead of acknowledging your skill issues, you start coping, seething, lying to yourself. Why would I ever need to leave my comfortable JetBrains IDE? I can just use my mouse. I'm equally as efficient. I'm just as fast. I'm paid the same nonetheless. Quick reminder, you're not. Studies show that Vim users out-earn and outperform VS Code users on a per capita basis.
Bro science, much.
from the TMB academic
Oh,
journal.
trust me,
At this
bruh.
stage, you're a part-time programmer and a full-time seether, otherwise known as the Emacs user, who still has highway exit pinkies, and is currently typing rage comments while using a keyboard that's propped up vertically. But after many nights spent coping, after many pair programming sessions spent seething, the young programmer stops coping and decides to make a change. As they enter the next stage of their Vimming career, skill issues. You're ready to try what Vim is all about, but
Yeah.
not quite yet. Similar to Gen Z and their entire value system, your Vim phobia has transitioned into Vim FOMO induced by social media. You tried just raw dog.
I think that's really accurate because I felt like I was missing out. Like when I watch people on the YouTubes that are really good in Vim, I felt like I was missing out because A, it looks cool, but it's so quick. And so yeah, the FOMO comment is real for me.
Vim, but the default netrw experience and the blinking cursor of doom perpetually scarred you and made you crash out harder than Kanye. So you're just going to use Vim motions in your IDE, and when it's too hard, you can just do the escape of shame and go back to using the arrow keys and the mouse.
That is so true. That is me. Because first I went, look, VS Code, then I went to Vim, and then I was like, well, what if I just do Vim bindings in VS Code, did that, and then I was like, this doesn't feel accurate. Like I'm still using a GUI thing, and I'm still like, I don't know. So I went back, I pressed escape. So Vim motions of shame, that was me.
Slowly but surely, you start getting good. The home row is etched into your brain. JK goes from just kidding to up, down. Copying and pasting never felt so good. You can delete entire functions within milliseconds. But there's still something missing. Saying I use Vim motions doesn't have the same ring to it.
No.
You want the experience.
Yep.
You want to accept a Google Meets call for pair programming, share your screen, look straight into the camera, and whisper softly, Neovim, by the way. Your tech job becomes a hobby and you become the full-time Neovimmer. You let your boss know you're taking some time off, and the second that gets approved, you open up Terminal and enter the 3 words that'll change the trajectory of your life. Brew, install, Neovim. Or Pacman apt, DNF,
Yeah,
or
baby.
whatever Windows users are doing these days. And also, for
Windows?
the love of God, just set the alias for Vim to Neovim. It
I set the alias to V, so it's just super quick. And yeah, you should definitely do that. It's super annoying.
takes like 3 seconds, just do it now. But despite installing Neovim, the netrw of Doom is still there. So you start looking up the best Neovim configuration. LazyVim, Astro, NVChad, they're all decent options.
Yeah, this is exactly my journey, my path, the pipeline that I'm on. I installed Astro, so that's where I am currently, and I feel like I should start learning Lua and building my own config, but I'm not there yet.
You pick one and go, and it feels so freaking good.
Yeah.
The power, the pace, the speed, all in the palm of your hands. Or the middle row of your keyboard, to be more precise. Or actually in the middle row of your 2 keyboards because you're using a split. You're flicking through files. You're deleting stuff. You're writing the code. Code writes you. You're the text editor. You're being pulled into a meeting with your manager because Neovim, by the way, on every pull request is making code reviews kind of hard. But not like it matters. Your code doesn't need reviewing. However, as time passes, something feels off. You see, using Neovim pre-configured kind of feels like doing a number 2 at a public bathroom, or rocking the millennial cliff in 2025. It just feels wrong. It feels kind of gross. It doesn't feel like home. So you open up init.lua and get to work. It's at this stage, if you ever had trouble growing facial hair, you'll spawn with an excellent 10 out of 10 mustache that would be the envy of Hulk Hogan. And your keyboard magically splits up overnight like Bangladesh and Pakistan.
I think that's the next step for me. Make my own Lua config, get a split keyboard, yoga ball, and start to grow facial hair.
And the latest issue of Jujutsu Kaisen is shipped straight to your door. The answer to the question, what is the best Neovim configuration, becomes clear. It's yours and every other Neovim config is trash.
Isn't that typical for the whole Linux community? You're doing it wrong because my way, my method is the only way. I feel like that's often the case. You know, even though both ways or methods are accurate, fine, usually we kind of dump on each other if you're not doing it the correct way, which is my way.
The words of TJ DeVries softly plays in the background. Luke Smith disappearing finally starts to make sense. You're ready for the final stage of Neovim, the most complete phase, 0 to LSP. Your Neovim config broke for the 5th time this week. So you do what any rational person would. You give up your big tech job to live on a farm. You throw away all your computers, order a ThinkPad and a System 76 laptop. One for your stable Neovim config, one for writing your Neovim config. And what a config it'll be. Harpoon, telescope, custom colors, tree sitter, a bespoke LSP setup that feels like wearing a well-tailored suit. Perfect. You see, while most people joke about the fact that you can't exit Vim, at this stage you realize you never needed to leave Vim.
That is the stage that I'm in right now because I edit all my files and I have these buffers going, and why would I ever want to leave it? Like, why?
And while you're sitting on your yoga ball, typing your config with your split
Oh, that's a sweet setup. Look at that.
keyboard and stroking your luscious mustache, your Neovim setup breaks once again, and you realize you don't like the color scheme, and you'll need to remap all your bindings. You realize you'll fundamentally never be happy with your Neovim configuration, and you quit to become a farmer. You see, Neovim was a fallacy all along. It was made by big farming to generate more farmers. The word Neovim can literally be rearranged to move in, which means get moving on the farm.
That joke.
Brother, this guy stinks!
So if you want to go ahead with the programmer to yoga ball to farmer pipeline, why not start with learning to code by using the sponsor of today's video?
Oh, okay. I guess we're having a look at their sponsor, but that video was awesome. Let's jump over to me in the full screen. Okay, what did you think about that? Be honest. Where in the spectrum, the pipeline, the journey that is Vim? Maybe you use Emacs, so you're not on the journey. But I guess the next stage for me is to, write my own Lua config and then have it break a bunch of time, and then I snap, and then I become an Icelandic farmer. I'm not looking forward to that, to be honest, because farming in Iceland is super hard, but I appreciate you all. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe and all that jazz, but definitely write down in the comments if you're on this journey with me, or maybe you're just starting out. Maybe you have the FOMO. Maybe you just saw the Primogen and you're just starting out, or you use Emacs or Nano. Like, who knows? But thank you for watching. Until next time, bye.